Hey everyone, this is the second episode of Downtime 2020 where we we help everyone who is hanging out inside and has to self-isolate. I'm hiking right now and I'm using a Garmin MARQ smartwatch right here on my wrist, and I'm using the hiking tracking feature right now. So a lot of us are going to be indoors, and hiking is one of the sort of few viable options that we have to go ahead and get exercise. And here in Los Angeles, I'm lucky, even though it's a pretty rainy day. Well, it's going to be raining tomorrow. So there we go. That's the San Fernando Valley, and I'm at the Franklin Canyon, Fryman Canyon trail that I go on a lot here. And this is a nice view, actually. I like this one a lot. So hiking with a smartwatch is something that is pretty new, actually, for me. Maybe about 2 years now I've been doing it. I don't do it every single time, but here we go. Here's the Garmin MARQ. This is their highest end smartwatch right now, and this is the driver. So this version has some special software for driving. This isn't their trekking version. I think there's the adventure, but they have a few that are a little bit more for hiking, but it's really just the software. So right now I'm actively tracking a hike, and it wants me to warm up. And I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the features, because I've been hiking for maybe about a half hour now, something like that, and I've been using it. So I want to show you how it can help you. If you are, in this sort of isolated environment and you need motivation to work out, I think that using a smartwatch is a good idea, because you can track your hike, see how you did, and then push yourself further. So it's a training tool as well as a tracking tool. I don't really care so much about how many calories I burn and stuff like that, but I do want to make sure that I'm getting enough time with with a good heart rate, and that I'm exercising properly. So I'm going to set this down for a second here and then go over some of the features on the watch. So 1 second here. All right. So I'm just going to take it off for a second here. This is their cool titanium bracelet that has this silicone inside. It's really comfortable. All right, so I took off the watch, so that's why there's no heart rate. So there's a map. So you can see there, that's where I began on the trail. And it's really cool because it uses GPS with its mapping software to see exactly where I am and where I'm going. And that's really a neat tool. That's the time. What's interesting is that when you are in the hiking tracking mode, the time isn't on every single dial. The time is on certain dials, but it's definitely not on every single dial. And that's sort of a weird thing. You have to scroll through these different screens here. So I've been hiking for 38 minutes. I've gone just over a mile. Not super far, but just over a mile. I've gone 210 feet. That's by my total ascent. Actually gone downhill. I'm putting it's funny because it's touching my finger on the back, so it's getting my heart rate through there. That's pretty low. Well, not the lowest heart rate, but I've definitely been sitting down. So that's basically the main features when you are hiking. I specifically set this for hiking, so it's a different tracking if you're running or walking or swimming, or there's different types of things, so the watch knows what you're doing. So hiking, it cares about things like the distance and if you've climbed or not and stuff like that. If you notice, there's nothing here about calories or stuff like that, but you can go in there and add a bunch of different screens. It gets pretty complicated, but I was actually on the phone with Garmin and they sort of walked me through this. I'm not going to show you all that right now, but you can highly customize this interface, and then of course connect it to I think it's called Garmin Connect. That's their phone app, and you can see a lot more stuff there. What I think is important to say is that even though this is one of the fancier Garmin smartwatches, the MARQ is not the only one that has these features. So even though this is I think this is actually over $2,000 because it's got the DLC coated titanium case, and this is a very good watch. But for a few $100s, they have Garmins that have similar software. And pretty much any smartwatch out there that has a heart rate monitor could be really, really good as a tool to help you stay motivated while we're working out and isolation time. One of the things that I've been trying to figure out when I am, taking a walk and hiking, and how do I track if I'm doing a good job? Is it the amount of time that I've been hiking, or is it something else, such as, let me get my jacket out of the way there. Is it something else like calories burned? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to focus on heart rate. So when you're done with your hike, you have to stop the watch. And let me just stop right there for a second and say that every single time I start to hike or do any exercise, I forget to activate the watch it wants you to go ahead and tell it that you're starting to hike, which makes sense. It doesn't automatically know yet. Some watches try to do that. The Apple Watch, for example, I think asks you, it's like, oh, it looks like you're vigorously exercising. Are you hiking perhaps? At least one of the watches I was wearing does something like that, which is neat. But a lot of the watches, you have to manually tell it, oh, I'm exercising now, so it can track. And if you don't have that habit yet, it's very easy to forget, oh, I have to start it and then stop it at the end. And then when you do stop it, you get additional metrics and things like that that you can save and you can share. And so it's pretty interesting. Anyways, so that is outside here in Los Angeles. It's the evening time now. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. We're pretty fortunate to be out here during isolation in LA where the weather's getting better. Stay vigilant, everyone out there. Go outside as much as possible, but respect social distancing. A few years ago, if you would have said social distancing, people would have looked at you very, very strangely. And today, when you hear social distancing, it's this very real thing. So it's funny how this terminology can just be strange to us a year or two ago and now make total sense. So stay great out there, everyone. Listen to more of the Downtime 2020s. We're going to try to do this daily. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to hear about. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks, everyone.